Okay, boys, let's start. Question number 1. Which of these descriptions applies to aerobic respiration, which to anaerobic respiration, and which to both? Now, lactic acid or alcohol made. What does this, you see, explanation applies to? Is it aerobic or anaerobic? Very good. This is anaerobic respiration because I have taught you that when anaerobic respiration happens in animals and bacteria, at that time lactic acid is produced. And when anaerobic respiration takes place in plants and fungi, at that time alcohol is made. All right, boys?
Yes, sir.
Now, next one. Energy released from glucose.
Sir,
Sir,
Yes, boys.
was
aerobic and aerobic.
Very good. This is related to both aerobic and anaerobic both. Carbon dioxide made.
Aerobic.
aerobic.
Very good. It is related to aerobic respiration. We cannot call it as anaerobic because in animals and fungi, sorry, animals and bacteria, when anaerobic respiration takes place, at that time only lactic acid is produced, carbon dioxide is not produced. Heat released.
Both.
Sir.
Very good. It is both aerobic and anaerobic. All right, boys?
Exothermic reactions.
Yes. Next one. Question number 2A. Explain the meaning of the term gas exchange surface in human lungs. Now, boys, the alveoli are called as the gas exchange surface because that is the place where the oxygen enters into the blood and carbon dioxide leaves the blood. So gases are exchanged over there. So that's why that is called as gas exchange surface. Understood, boys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Boys, next question is list 3 features of gas exchange surface. Boys, I
Sir,
taught
guys,
this.
gas exchange surface is one cell thick. The capillaries are also one cell thick. So the uh, oxygen they have to diffuse in and out from two layers and has large surface area.
Very good. Remember that you see when I was teaching about gaseous exchange, I told you these 3 points that they have large surface area, right? Next, that they have a lot of blood capillaries, and third, that they are, you see, the gases only have to travel to 2 cells layer. All right, boys? Next one. Explain how each feature in your list helps gas exchange to happen efficiently. How surface area, how a lot of blood capillaries, and how just one cell thick layer you see help in the exchange of the gases.
So large
Who can
surface
answer?
area, so more gases will diffuse in and out, and so two layers so they can diffuse in and out easily.
Very good. And a lot of blood capillaries.
Sir, so more air can be taken in.
Very good. More and faster exchange of gases. Yes. Now, next one. Copy and complete this table to summarize what happens during breathing. Now, breathing in and breathing out. External intercostal muscles. What happens to
So,
them when we are breathing in?
sir, in breathing air, external intercostal muscles they contract.
Very good. You see, when we are inhaling, at that time external intercostal muscles they contract, and at that time while we are breathing out, at that time
They
Relax.
external
relax.
intercostal muscles relax, right? Next one, diaphragm muscles.
Sir, contract and relax.
Very good. When we are breathing in, at that time they contract, and when we are breathing out, they relax. Volume of the thorax.
So volume of the thorax, it increases breathing in and decreases.
Very good. Right? That when we are inhaling, at that time when we are breathing in, at that time the volume of the thorax. Now, boys, let me tell you, the word thorax means chest cavity. The word cavity means empty space, right? So the chest, its volume increase. Remember, we learned what happens. The rib cage moves outward and upward. Remember that? We even put our hands on our chest while we were inhaling deeply, and we felt that the rib cage was moving outward and upward. And another thing, you see that the diaphragm, I told you that, you see its muscles contract, and diaphragm, it becomes what, straight. So definitely when the diaphragm will move away from lungs, rib cage, it will move outward and upward. So obviously what will happen, the volume will increase while we are breathing in, and while breathing out the volume decrease, obviously, because the diaphragm muscles relax. Diaphragm, it moves back to its original dome shape position. And second thing which we learned, that the rib cage moves downward and inward. So it also, you see puts pressure onto the lungs. So during that, the volume of the thorax or chest decreases. Next was pressure in lungs. Now he's
Sir, it's
talking about
high
the,
then low.
yes, right? So when we are breathing in, the so air comes into the lungs, right? Right, boys?
Yes,
So
sir.
breathing in, the pressure increases in lungs, and breathing out, the pressure decreases in the lungs.
Sir, breathing in
Next,
it decreases.
yes, because you see, if you guys remember, we learned that, you see, while we are breathing in, at that time there is lower pressure. So air rushes in from higher pressure outside to the lower pressure inside, right? Remember, you
Yes,
see,
sir.
you can, I always share the lectures in the OneNote. You can open and you see, you can find those. And remember, I told you that 8 marks question can come, right? For, you see, this breathing in and breathing out. All right.
Yes, sir.
So please go through that and memorize that. Next one, describe in detail the pathway of an oxygen molecule as it moves from the air outside your body into your blood and to a cell in a muscle in your arm. You could write your answer in words or use a flow diagram or perhaps a mixture of both. You will need to think about what you have learned about the human transport system as well as what you have learned in this chapter. Now, guys, let me show you guys what is the meaning of flow diagram. Do any one of you have any idea what is a flow diagram? Does anyone know what is a flow diagram?
No,
No problem. I am going to tell you what is a flow diagram, all right? Look here, boys. Now, whenever we use arrows to explain something, now, like, look here. First of all, what we'll write, that the oxygen in air. Then, when we inhale, we can write here inhale, and after inhaling, where does it go? Lungs. From lungs,
Saturation.
yes, very good. We can start from there as well. That it goes into, even we say that nose, then nose to trachea, trachea to lungs, right?
Lungs to alveoli.
Lungs, in the lungs, we see there they go into the alveoli. From alveoli, they go into the blood, right? Then blood goes where? Into the heart. And what? Which side of the heart? Left atrium.
Left.
All right.
Also,
Then
it pumps the
from
blood
left atrium
all
to
around the body.
left
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 ventricle,
ventricle.
ventricle.
right? Then from left
Aorta.
ventricle, it goes into
Aorta.
aorta,
Aorta.
and from aorta, it goes into the
Muscle.
subclavian artery. Now, if you guys remember, I told you guys that the arteries that go to the arms, they are called as subclavian arteries, right? And
Yes.
subclavian artery will take it to the arm muscles. Right, boys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
whenever we use arrows to write down a pathway or a procedure, this is called as a flow sheet. This is called as two things. Either it is called as a flow diagram or also called as flow sheet. Understood, boys?
Yes, sir.
So this is what the flow diagram or flow sheet is. Now you can write all of this in the form of words as well, right? In an easy way. Next question, question number 5. A girl breathed into a machine that recorded the volume of the air that she breathed in and out. The results were recorded as a graph of volume against time. The diagrams show results obtained when she was resting and when she was exercising. Now, these are two graphs. This is when she was resting, and this is when she was exercising. Now, A, use the first graph to find how many breaths per minute the girl took while she was resting.
Sir, 12.
Now, very good. Now, boys, look here. This is 60. Now, over here, 1 minute completes, right? So, you just count the number of breaths 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right? Boys? Is the answer is 12 breaths. Second question, part B. Use the second graph to find out how many breaths per minute the girl took while she was exercising. Again, boys, this is where 1 minute is completing, right? Over here. So again, you what you do, you measure the number of waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Right, boys? So what is the answer? 21 breaths per minute during exercise. All right, boys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one. Use the first graph to find the volume of the first breath that she took while she was resting. Now we need to find the volume. Now look here, boys. Now look here. This one big block is equal to how much? 0.5 cubic decimeter, right? Now look
Yes,
here,
sir.
that this, you see, he's asking about second breath. So this is the second breath, right? This is the first one, this is the second one. So second breath is equal to how much? 0.5 cubic decimeter.
Sir, first breath.
You
So we are doing C.
okay, see, use the first graph, find the first breath. Okay, even the first breath is what? 0.5 cubic
0.5
decimeter.
cubic decimeter.
All right, boys.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now D, use the second graph to find the volume of the second breath that she took while she was exercising. Now this time we have to find the second breath. Already scale. What is the scale? That one large, you see this scale, the scale is equal to 0.5 cubic decimeter. Now look here, that you see this is 1, this is 2, and a little bit more than 2. Can you guys see?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Over
Yes, sir.
here, right? Over here. So 0.5 plus 0.5 is equal to 1. 1,
1.
and this is about 0.25, right? So it will be 1.25 cubic decimeter. Understood, everyone?
Sir, one small block is equal to 0.05.
Yes. No, one whole block is equal to, you see, this one big block is equal to 0.5. So it is even lesser than the small block. So it will be equal to 1.125 cubic decimeter. Right, boys? Look here,
Yes.
1, 2, and half of the small block. So it will be equal to 1.125. All right, boys?
Yes, sir.
Next one, E. Explain how these changes in rate and depth of breathing help the girl to do the exercise. Now look here, boys. Two things has happened during the exercise. One, the number of breaths have increased. Here in 1 minute while resting, she was taking 12 breaths per minute. During exercise, she started taking 21 breaths. Second thing, that here the volume she was inhaling, that was 0.5 cubic decimeter. And here she is inhaling the volume which is 1.125 cubic decimeter, right? So it means that the volume of inhaling air has also increased, and not only that, the number of breaths has also increased. So we say that increase in number of breaths and increase in depth of the breaths. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now
Yes.
question
Yes.
is, how both of these things they help the girl. How both of these things they help the girl. Now who will try to explain this answer?
Sir, while exercising uh, our muscles need more oxygen. So when we uh, breathe more volume and more breathe more, and so more
Yes,
oxygen comes into our body.
yes. Then next point what you will write. Then
Then
that extra
Sir,
oxygen.
that extra oxygen will be transported to the heart, and from there it will be transported to the muscles.
Very good. Where it will be used for aerobic respiration to provide energy for the exercise. All right, boys. So what you will tell, by increasing the number of breaths and depth of the breath, more air is inhaled which will provide more oxygen to the blood, and blood will carry this oxygen to the muscles, and the muscles will use this oxygen to produce more energy by aerobic respiration, which is required for the exercise. All right, boys?
Yes, sir.
Next question. Describe the mechanism that brought about these changes in the rate and depth of breathing in the girl's body. What is the mechanism that has brought these changes in the rate and depth of the breathing in the girl's body? Now, boys, what she will tell that when the girl, she will start performing exercise. Now, at that time, what will happen? That there will be increase in respiration. Because of the increase in respiration, what will happen? That
More
there will
carbon
be
dioxide.
more production of carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide content will increase in the blood. So the carbon dioxide content will increase in the blood. Then what will happen? The brain will detect higher concentration of carbon dioxide. Brain will detect higher concentration of carbon dioxide, and then brain will send the message to the external intercostal muscles and internal intercostal muscles and diaphragm to contract and increase the rate of breathing. Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next one. The graph shows how a student's breathing rate changed during and after exercise. Now, you guys can see that here the exercise is starting and here the exercise stopped. Now, over here on the y-axis, there is breaths per minute, and on the x-axis, they have time in minutes. First is question number A is calculate the increase in the student's breathing rate from when he started to exercise to its maximum rate. Now look here, when he started exercise, at that time breathing was how much? About 13 breaths per minute. And the fastest breathing rate is when? Here,
25.
25 breaths.
right? That is what? 25 breaths per minute. So 13 minus 25, how much is that?
12.
Right? So the breathing increased. You see, 12 breaths per minute has increased as compared to resting during exercise. All right. Next one, calculate how long it took after he finished exercise for his breathing rate to return to normal. Now look here, that you see here he stopped the exercise at 11th minute, and this is the 16th minute when it returned to normal. So 11 minus 16, 4 minutes. It took 4 minutes for the breathing to become
Sir,
normal or
11
return
minus
to the normal.
16 is 5.
Sir, it's 5.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yes. So 11 minus 16 is 5. So it took 5 minutes for the breathing to become normal. All right, boys? Easy or difficult?
Easy.
Yes, sir.
Easy, right? Now, next question. Explain why his breathing rate did not return to normal immediately after exercise stopped. Now, boys, if you guys remember, Look here, how many questions are there? Now, this is the question about oxygen debt. And I told you at that time, at least 4 marks question can come about this. Now, he's asking why the breathing rate did not become normal right after exercise. Now, when I taught you about the oxygen debt wise, at that time I taught you one thing, that when a person is exercising, muscles need extra oxygen, but lungs have a certain capacity. They cannot inhale more oxygen than that. So at that time, the muscles, they perform aerobic and anaerobic respiration. And during anaerobic respiration, lactic acid is produced. And that lactic acid is then transferred to the blood, and blood brings that lactic acid where? To the liver. Now, in the liver, the oxygen is used. The person inhaling the oxygen after the exercise, the extra oxygen, that oxygen is used for which purpose? For two purposes. One, to convert 3 out of 4 molecules of lactic acid back to glucose, and 1 out of 4 molecules of lactic acid to be broken down into carbon dioxide and water. Right, boys? Understood?
Yes, sir.
And that oxygen which is inhaled after the exercise, deeper and extra oxygen, that oxygen is called as oxygen debt. Next one, describe and explain how you would expect the student's heart rate to change during the 16-minute period shown on the graph. Now, it's obvious what you will tell, that the heart will increase from 1 minute up till you see this 11th minute, right? And after 11th minute up till 16 minutes, the heart rate will slow down and come back to normal heart rate, right? So, as now, boys, let me tell you one thing. I have told you this in the first term as well, and again I'm telling you. There are 2 words written here, describe and explain. Now, whenever describe word is written, it means that you have to write down whatever you see. Now, what you see over here, that the number of breaths are increasing. And whenever the word explain is written, it means that you have to use your knowledge to answer that question. Understand, boys? For describe, you just write down whatever you observe, whatever you see. And for explain, you use your knowledge to answer the question. Now, boys, what you will tell, that as the breathing rate is increasing, so at that time the number of heartbeats will increase. Why? So that the more blood can be pumped to the muscles for providing the oxygen and nutrients to the muscles. Understand, boys? And then when the breathing rate starts decreasing after the exercise, at that time the heartbeat also decreases and becomes normal. Why? Because muscles are not working extra, so they do not require excess amount of oxygen and nutrients. So less pumping of the blood. All right, boys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, boys, are this breathing and respirations, end of chapter questions, they are finished. Inshallah, in the next class, we'll do the breathing and respiration questions of circulatory system, inshallah. All right, boys?
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, boys. See you guys inshallah in next class. Have a nice weekend. Take care and Allah Hafiz.
Allah
Allah
Hafiz,
Hafiz,
sir.
sir.
Allah Hafiz.